Today we'll look at every MVP winner from Shaquille O'Neal in 2000 to Nikola Jokic, who won the award last year. We'll put each player in order by how many PPG they had in their MVP season. Not only will we look at how they scored, but we'll also look at the MVP race from that year as a whole to see if their high or low PPG was enough to make them a candidate for MVP. Scoring is only one part of the game, but in many ways, it is the most important part. First, Tim Duncan, 23.9 PPG, 2002-3 MVP season. Tim Duncan is the best power forward who has ever played the game, so he will show up on this list a lot. You might not have thought that his PPG would be so low for an MVP season, but there are a few reasons why it is. First, scoring was not the only thing that Duncan did on the court. He is one of the best big men who could play both offense and defense, so he also won a lot of awards for his defense. Second, the Spurs won 60 games that year, making Duncan the best player on the team and putting him in the running for MVP. The Spurs did well even though they didn't have a standout scorer. Duncan was the best scorer on the team, but they also had about 6 to 7 other guys who were also very good at what they did. Tony Parker set the pace, Manu Ginobili was one of the best players in the league when he came off the bench, and Greg Popovich, one of the best coaches ever, ran the show. Duncan had 23.9 PPG, 12.9 RPG, and 2.9 BPG in the finals during the 2002-3 season. He was 7th in the NBA for points, 3rd for rebounds, 3rd for blocks. It's safe to say that he was a great scorer, but it was his overall dominance and the fact that the Spurs won 60 games that made him that MVP. Second, Stephen Curry, 23.8 PPG, 2014-15 MVP season. The first of Stephen Curry's 2 MVP awards came in 2014-15 when he and the Golden State Warriors were just starting to get noticed. Curry and the Warriors reached new heights this season with 67 wins. They set a new record for most wins in the season for a team. Curry also became the second player in the history of the Warriors to win the award, after Wilt Chamberlain, his 23.8 PPG, 7.7 APG, and 2.0 SPG all put him in the top 6 in the NBA. It didn't stop there, as the greatest shooter of all time nailed 286 three-pointers that season, at the 3rd highest rate in the NBA at 44.3%. Curry got 100 of the 130 first-place votes for MVP that season, which was well-deserved. Klay Thompson, who played at the same time, came in second with 21.7 PPG. Only 3 other Golden State players averaged more than 10.0 PPG that year. He was definitely their leader and the person to go to, and that hasn't changed. When your team has 67 wins and Curry shoots the ball like he did that year, there should be no question about who the MVP is. Third, Kevin Garnett, 24.2 PPG, 2003-4 MVP season. In many ways, Kevin Garnett's season as MVP was a historic one. He was the first and only player in Timberwolves history to win the award. In 2004, Garnett was the Wolves' leading scorer, rebounder, shot blocker, and sometimes passer. In 2004, Garnett had 71 double-doubles. This was the most in the NBA since Hakeem Olajuwon had 71 in 1994. He also broke 11 team records for Minnesota and led the league in both points and rebounds. Garnett won the Most Valuable Player award and was also chosen for the All-NBA First Team and All-Defense Team. He had 67 games with 20 or more points and 12 games with 30 or more points. He also had 6 games in which he scored at least 20 points and grabbed at least 20 rebounds. Garnett had a great season, and as he led the league in rebounds for the first of 4 years in a row, Garnett led the Timberwolves to 58 wins, even though only 3 other players averaged more than 10 points per game. Even though Garnett had low PPG, he was so good at every part of the game that he was the obvious choice for MVP. Next, Nikola Jokic, 26.4 PPG, 2020-21 MVP season. Nikola Jokic has won the MVP award for the last 2 years in a row, which shows that he is the best center in basketball. Jokic, like most of the other players on this list, had a great scoring year for him. He scored 26.4 PPG, which was a career high, and shot 56.6% from the field, which was also a career high at the time. He was a force around the basket. He made 75.3% of his shots from 0-3 feet and 57.2% of his shots from 3 to 10 feet. With 26.4 PPG and 10.8 RPG, Jokic was ranked 12th in the NBA in points, 9th in rebounds. Jokic really stood out because he was so good at making plays. He had 8.3 assists per game, which was by far the most of any center in the NBA. With a 47-25 record, Jokic led the Nuggets to the third spot in the Western Conference. When Jamal Murray tore his ACL 48 games into the season, the team could have given up, but the MVP made sure they kept fighting until the end. Moving on, LeBron James, 26.8 PPG, 2012-13 MVP season. The 2012-13 version of LeBron James could be the best version of the legendary player we have ever seen. LeBron James was not only named the most valuable player, but he also almost won the Defensive Player of the Year award. He came in second place behind Mark Gasol. LeBron averaged 26.8 PPG in 2013 and shot an amazing 56.5% from the field and 40.6% from the three-point range. He went for the basket like he was crazy, making 77.6% of his close shots. He also shot well from anywhere else on the court, making more than 40% of his shots from every other range. LeBron's MVP win wasn't just because of his offense, which saw him score a lot and also pass the ball 7.3 times per game. LeBron was the best defender we've ever seen him be. He took on every player, from the point guard all the way down to the center. As the leader of the Miami Heat defense, he was like a conductor. He was one of the best weak side basketball defenders and one of the best at getting the other team to make simple mistakes and throw bad passes. The Heat won 66 games and had the best record in the NBA. At the end of the season, the MVP helped the Miami Heat win their second straight NBA title. Sixth, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo, 27.7 PPG, 2018-19 MVP season. As of 2022, everyone agrees that Giannis Antetokounmpo is the best player in the world. After the 2018-19 season, when he won his first MVP award, he started to move up the ladder to that position. With a 60-22 record, which was the best in the NBA, Giannis led the Bucks to their best season since 1980-81. Giannis finished third in the league with 27.7 points per game, 6th with 12.5 rebounds per game, and 20th with 5.9 assists per game. He made 57.8% of his shots from the field, which was a Milwaukee Bucks record. He also blocked 1.5 shots per game, which put him 10th in the NBA. Giannis's ability to play both offense and defense was on full display as he turned the Bucks into serious title contenders. Giannis shot 57.8% for the season, which was a franchise record. He shot 64.1% from inside the three-point line and 76.9% at the basket. He was also in the running for Defensive Player of the Year at the end of the season. With 30.9 PER and 29.7 win shares per 48 minutes, he was the best player in the NBA. Giannis led the Bucks to their first playoff series win in 18 years and a spot in the Eastern Conference Finals in his first of 2 MVP seasons. Finally, Shaquille O'Neal, 29.7 PPG, 1999-2000 MVP season. In the 1999-2000 season, when Shaquille O'Neal won his first and only MVP award, he had already proven himself to be the best and most dominant player in the NBA. At the end of the season, Shaq won the MVP of the All-Star Game, and the MVP of the Finals. He led the Lakers to a 67-15 record, which was the best in the NBA, and helped them win the NBA title when the playoffs were over. During his MVP season, Shaq left his mark all over the league. He scored the most points in the league, was second in rebounds, 13.6 RPG, and third in blocks, 3.0 BPG. Almost everyone picked him, but one person put Allen Iverson in first place. Shaq was almost impossible to stop in the paint because small defenders couldn't stop him and big defenders couldn't keep up with his speed and strength. Over the next few years, O'Neal would still be the best player in the league, but no one would beat what he did in 2000. Unfortunately, guys, that's all the time we had for today. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Till next time, cheers.